But why would... Whoa, need to be careful. Oh, you got me. So these things are annoying because they've got good defense regardless of what you hit them with. They're very difficult to stun as well. Oh my goodness, this move. Oh, I love it. That's an inappropriate noise. So you might be thinking, is there any downside to this garb? Because at this moment in time, it's looking pretty god tier. And the only downside is how fucking ugly it is. You literally look like you're auditioning for the Jamaican bobsleigh team. Because you can't change the colours on it. When you go to the edit garb, it doesn't allow you to change anything but the colour of the buckle. Which is just bizarre, because the buckle is like 1 pixel on this huge thing. Oh, there's who we want. Hello, friend.
Don't let your guard down.
This guy's going to allow us to maybe finish this day. That would be amazing if we could do 3 places in one day. And it is possible. You just have to manage your time better than I've been managing it and, you know what you're doing on this game. Oh, I didn't do the second hit. That was cool. Supposed to play the game. We need 100. If we can get 100, we'll stagger him and kill him. Didn't stagger him, but we'll kill him with this, maybe. There we go. That'll do. Once again, I'm not doing precision taps, which there's a weapon that actually rewards you for doing precision taps on your attacks, but I'm not going to be using those. We need to chronostasis this. Avoid the Schrodinger's cat. It's not in a box, it's not dead or alive, it's in fact chasing me, which is not cool. So we're going to need 3 of these cruxes to open the tablet places. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting to the next gallery. And I don't know if there's a warp point near it, but I think there is. And the reason I'm doing this is hopefully it's going to save some time. Because if I can get a warp point next to both the galleries, I can then directly warp into the final gallery and skip the run I'm doing right now. But it might not work. So, this is what we wanted. And now that we've done this, we're going to go to the places where the tablets are, which are the places I originally ran around to get the Cactua statues for. So the Atomos area, the dry floodland area, and one last area called, I think it's like the Grave of the Titan or something. But this is definitely one. And the easy way to find which one it is when you go to your map, which I don't know why I went the slow way. You see how it's a Shrine of the Tablet in green? I know it's obvious, but it's one of those things you kind of don't see. But when you zoom in, Shrine of the Tablet, so on and so forth. So this is a place that's going to have a tablet. We need to collect 3 of these, and we need to put them in 3 separate galleries in that dungeon. Once we do that, we get to the boss, and we've done it. And it's literally as arbitrary and as pointless as it seems. And it just makes me really sad that they've got all this technology, and the quests just haven't evolved. In fact, they've got worse, because the quests in some of the older games were more enjoyable. Like, if anybody remembers the Cloister of Trials, there were these quite challenging puzzle rooms that you did that led to a new Aeon, and they were really fun to do. And what happened to that kind of level design? Ambitious level design. Don't get me wrong, I think there's a place where level design can kind of take the piss, like in 13.2, the clockwork puzzle, the clock thing. That is pretty much retarded, and if anybody's played it, you'll know exactly what I mean, because it's completely horrible.
Well, how about... Doesn't seem like anything. Maybe they gave it...
Oh, shut up, Australian lady. So on your way out, you're going to have to fight some of these skeletons, because it's mandatory. And it'd be great if they gave you EP, because it'd allow me to perhaps finish this day. But they don't give good EP, they give terrible EP. Wow, those are some really nice, I assume, criticals. See, 0.25, which means you have to beat 4 of them just to get 1. Like, what a waste of time. And in a speedrun, wasting time is the last thing you want. That was unfortunate, that. Not a lot you can do when you get really unfortunate spawns. Again! What has changed? earlier we fought one of those and it took a beating, but for some reason we're getting good RNG with the damage multiplier. Weird. So if you cut those, you can get items from them, and I recommend you do it because those items can be lifesavers. Do you know what I could do? Except for that, which might work in my favour anyway. Again, I don't understand this. All of a sudden these things have gone super weak. Maybe it's because they've got the crowns on and they're not the bold one. Maybe the bold skeleton is the tougher skeleton. Item there. Yeah. I'm going to use an item here, guys. I'm going to use an ether. Which I would recommend if you're playing casually and you're not wanting to just power this, that you don't do that. I'm only doing it so I can try and finish this day in the day. And I only have, like, what is that, 36 minutes of game time, which correlates to not very long. Like, I think an entire day is an hour, so just calculate it that way. My maths is terrible, so I'll let you do that. We want to go to Dry Floodland Shrine. But if so, the second hour will have been 2 days, and then the only thing left is the fetch quest with Zaz and Yuznan, and I think Yuznan is probably the most fun area of the game when it comes to the quest, because it's really interesting, and I don't think there's any part of it that I think is shitty except for the kind of copy and paste bullshit of the dungeon at the end. This slide is so cool. It'd be great if you could take the chocobo with you to different places, because once you get used to moving quickly via sliding or via chocobo, it just gets really tedious running around. So here's the second tablet. Here's the mandatory bullshit that comes with it that we're skipping because the storyline on this game is about as complicated as an Etch-a-Sketch. In fact, I could write a better story on a fucking Etch-a-Sketch than this game. Yeah, well, I'll take it. Especially now I know I can just romp them with this. Prepare your anus! And we're getting Dead Man's Teeth, which is good because it counts towards... is that Bacti oil? There's Bacti oil. Precious seconds just wasted. And the last one, I don't know what the closest place is. Probably going to be the North Gate, I believe. But I got a comment on one of my videos, and I banned the person who left it because that's just how I generally roll when people like to leave several paragraphs full of hate that compare me to cancer, which is hilarious because they think I care. I do not have the one I need, so I'm going to have to go to this one. But I should have muted him so he couldn't, you know, do any further dialogues and not banned him, because when I banned him, it removed the comment. And the comment was brilliant, guys. It was the biggest hate speech I've ever received. Like, there's a part of me that wanted to copy and paste it and put it on a little plaque, because it was literally nothing redeemable. That's where we need to go there. Would Ruffian have been closer? Ruffian might have been closer. But anyway. Like, it was so funny because you can tell the person who left it, not only was he not English, and English wasn't his first language, but he also didn't know how to insult people, because here's a little advice for people who don't have a lot of experience of being an asshole when it comes to, you know, sending hateful messages to people, which I've had a ton of experience with, because when I was in, you know, earlier schools, I used to be a pretty good bully, believe it or not. Excuse me. And I did mature out of it, and I do regret it, but at the time I was a bit of a terror. And it definitely translates online, because you know exactly what buttons to press. If it takes you longer than the characters needed to form a tweet, your insult loses its value. Insults work when they're short, snappy, and they cut deep. Not when they're several paragraphs, that's not even a word, several paragraphs long, in broken English, that amount to essentially nothing. Those don't work, and those need to be avoided, because you're losing the impetus on your message at that point, which is exactly what this person did. And it was hilarious. And the worst part is, some of the stuff they were saying kind of translated why they didn't like me. And it stemmed from backstabbing in Dark Souls, which just goes to show the calibre of human being we're dealing with here, that would say hateful, heinous, slanderous things to someone over the internet who they've never met, all because they don't like how I played Dark Souls. And I'm not talking about, you know, a hate message that you send over Xbox Live in the heat of the moment when you're pissed off at somebody, because everybody sends funny hate messages, it's just how it generally works. Like, sometimes I even send those messages for fun to get a rise out of people so I can put them in my videos, but I'm talking someone who literally hunkers over a keyboard to write as best they can with their poor literary skills, and just, like I said, the guy compared me to cancer, or girl, I'm not too sure who it was, and then went on to say, you know, various other things about how I was shit at games, how I wasn't good at games, how I had no life, all the great things that people who also like games like to say about people who are better at games than they are. Never understood that personally. Kind of hypocritical. But it was just hilarious, and it was raw poison. It was one of the most poisonous comments I've ever received. And I didn't bat an eyelid, in fact I tweeted about it. But the fact that I banned him, so I wouldn't have to deal with any further outbursts of his, you know, his romantic opinions, was a mistake. Because I miss having that on the video it was on. And I miss people seeing it and just seeing what their responses were to it, and seeing if they had the massive jaw-breaking yawn that I did. Because one thing people really need to understand is I've been confrontational my entire life, in every walk of it. So it's very difficult to insult me, especially strangers, you know. Not even people close to me know how to insult me and actually insult me. It's a very difficult thing to do. And I'm talking on a personal level here, guys, and it just stems from the fact that I've been doing it for so long, I just don't get offended. It's not how it works. And I just think it's hilarious that people will try and just convey just how much they hate someone who, for all intents and purposes, could be their next door neighbour. And they'll politely say hello to them when they pass them on the drive and everything, but it's one of those really funny parts of life. I'm so glad that wasn't a fight. But it does show the evolution of language with the way people are so willing to be hateful and evil online, even though they might not intrinsically be a bad person. And I think it's definitely got a correlation to driving, where people will say the worst, most hateful things to other drivers for no other reason than they're wanting to get somewhere and that person's getting in their way. And it's the anonymity of it that allows us to behave that way.